We're Batman at 89.
Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minute 89, the podcast where we dump a load of information about Tim Burton's 1989 Batman film like a stack of newspapers on your floor, 1 minute at a time, 3 days a week. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And I'm that other guy who turns up 3 days a week, John Parker.
And today we're once again joined by, all the way from the Matrix Minute, Phil Dragash.
Hello.
It was Dragash. Dragash? Yeah.
Sure. Sure, man. You can just anyone's fine. Anyone is fine.
I'm impressed that you made it all the way from the Matrix.
I know, all the way from the Matrix.
Yeah. Are you calling us from within the Matrix?
It's pretty scary there. Yeah, you get pretty good reception.
Yeah.
We got those cool phones with the little, you press a button and it flips down, you see the buttons. It's a great.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like in the meta contextual sense, you are all hooked into a giant processor, and it definitely has to have good Wi-Fi. How else is it going to process all this information?
Well, we're thankful you did it because there was talk of going in to try to unhook you from the Matrix to come all the way down here to record, and it's just easier if he just calls in,
Yeah, right? There we go. It's all good. It all worked out fine. And I'm here, Batman.
Hey.
Yeah.
Although now I really, really want to see a Batman Matrix crossover comic. So I'm just sad that doesn't exist.
They can do that. I mean, imagine that. Imagine if Bruce Wayne woke up and he was actually in the Matrix.
Oh my God.
Went into the real world, and then he found out that all that stuff that he had to do, and he accomplished, was not real. And then, how would he feel after that? And that's something. And how could he even tell people? Would people know he was Batman in the Matrix? Is there still secret identity going on?
This is right in itself. This is genius.
Right? It's got secrets within secrets, just like the Matrix within the Matrix. But then, because Batman, Bruce Wayne, he's accomplished so much with the martial arts and all this different studying that he had to do. He doesn't have to have it uploaded onto his mind like everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be a nice little twist on his character. Yeah, he just knows this stuff already.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, you would want it uploaded anyway, just in case your form is slightly off.
Right, yeah, that's the question. That's the thing. But what reference are they using to, what's their jujitsu program that they're using? Is that the perfect form of jujitsu? Who knows? I don't know. Many questions to be answered.
I can imagine it'd be just in the American version of The Office, when Dwight starts up a Second Life account. You remember back when Second Life was a thing? But
oh yes.
But it's just
Still is a thing,
his Second Life is identical to his normal life, except he can fly. I can imagine Batman's just I can already do all the stuff, so I'll just add in. Right. Yeah, I can fly now. There you go.
He might not have too much of a problem freeing his mind.
Yeah.
And breaking the rules of the Matrix. That would be something.
Well,
dude.
Tumblr, get on it, please. Thank you.
That's a comic that should happen. Just that the Matrix needs to step its game up because it's not very popular right now.
I mean, they've got both Warner Brothers properties. Apparently, as of recording, they're saying 2018 is going to be the reset button for the DC movies. They're apparently Affleck's kind of half out the door already.
What?
Apparently he's just it's not confirmed as yet, but it seems to be kind of a known thing within the industry. It's he's not going to do anymore after Justice League. So man. It's you got a Matrix reboot, remake, whatever they're planning to do with the Matrix.
No, don't do that.
But you could have hey, new Batman, Matrix, make it happen, It's
I know, that's just way too crazy, which is why it should be working.
Yeah.
But anyway, Niall. The minute.
Oh, yes. We're here to talk about minute 74 of Tim Burton's 1989 version of Batman today.
That's right.
Yeah, it begins with a cape flapping up onto the screen, and it ends 1 minute later with a pile of papers been dumped at a local paper stand. So
I instantly thought that we were watching, in that last section there, Disney's Newsies. the musical.
Of course, John, you
with-
know who stars in Newsies, don't you?
Yeah, future Batman, right?
Yeah, Christian Bale. There you go.
Oh God, of course, yeah. Oh, jeez, everything's connected.
Yeah.
Right it is. Woo.
Yeah.
Hashtag everything's connected.
I'm gonna get that hashtag trending.
Although, imagine though, you'll find out it's like the second series of Dirk Gently's out, and you just think it's like, no, it's us. It's like we're doing that. We got it trending. Then we can get like we'll invite Max Landis on because he writes it, and he'll be like just casually mention like, oh yeah, that's like one of our catchphrases, and he's just like, what? You guys are going down, and then that'll be the end of the podcast, and you'll never hear.
Man.
We'll have Max Landis on.
But if you did get Max Landis on, your podcast episodes would be like 4 hours each.
Well, they're long enough as it is.
Right?
So we're back with Vicki and Bats as she asks what, which of course is in relation to what he was talking about last minute when he said he needs something else. Yes. Like, well, what do you want? What do you want? And then he yet again comes across quite sinister and dark and strange because he swooshes his cape over the screen. And it's like, well, is he abducting her again? How many times is he going to kidnap this woman?
Like in Men in Black, when this is like the repeated neuralizing of Linda Florentine. I was like, how many times can you do this to this poor woman? And I think this is like, how many times is Batman going to like abduct this one person?
Yeah, and take her to a strange location.
Take you to the second level of Batman's Inferno.
Batferno? I'm trying to think of a way of it.
Batferno.
Oh, that sounds like that'd be like the disco remix to the theme tune. It's like,
Oh,
Batman.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
You're listening
Dun,
to
dun,
the
dun,
Batferno.
dun, with all the classic 70s disco violins in the background there.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. And then we get this great stock footage of these bats.
Yeah.
Yes.
These
Oh, I
nice
love
little,
that.
These tiny little vampire bats, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, it's a cool transition. Although now, again, in the pristine era of like, you know, DVDs and Blu-rays, it's very noticeable that it's not seamless. It's like he puts up the cape and then it very clearly cuts to something. It's a pitch blacker.
Yeah,
And
something else.
You can see the edit happen. Whereas back when you were a kid,
Yeah.
it just looked like, oh, but it's like the bats have come out of his cape or something. It's
Yeah, when we were watching it on crappy old tapes that we've watched 1,000 times and have degraded into nothing.
Yeah.
yeah, but it is a great idea for a transition. I do have to ask though, what is he doing under the cape? Like he swishes the cape up, but what's the purpose? What's he doing?
Well,
like
it's artistic expression on the on the transition of the scene. You know, that's how the scene.
Oh no,
well,
again,
of course.
that's that's granted, but still in the actual reality is he taking out like a bat chloroform rag?
Just punches her in the face.
Yeah. Oh, God, no.
Just put a
Batman,
punch sound
don't do
effect
it.
in there. It'll sound pretty.
See, I thought, yeah, he's using kind of like a chloroform thing. And the reason I thought that was because of the old Adam West film. I think it's the film, or is it the show? I think it's the film.
Oh, the film, man. Yeah, the film.
Yeah, because he uses like a bat chloroform type
Oh,
thing.
he uses the bat
and then
everything.
he has a thing to wake them up, like smelling salts called, it says bat wake. So I figured it was the same kind of thing there.
Yeah, it's right next to the bat shark repellent.
Yeah, but even at that though, it's like, do you need the cape up for that? Like it just seems like he'd be cape up with one arm and then having to take out a thing with his other hand. As it like just in case Alfred's watching. Like what?
Master Wayne, what are you doing?
He always had a taste for the theatrical.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe it's all for looks. Maybe he's just like, this'll look awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, that is true because it was constantly doing the old, the Dracula cape lift earlier in the movie. But it's like that seemed to serve no other purpose, and like looks cool, right? And it's like
It's just looking cool, man.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, he's not wrong. It does look cool. So
Well, I'll tell you what doesn't look cool. We cut to Vicki lying face down in bed, right? Her bedroom is exceedingly disgusting to me.
Really?
It looks like a grandma's room. Like, what the hell is going
Okay.
on? She's cooler than this.
I can agree with you now that you mentioned it. I was like, nah, it's okay. It's like this, it's this early 90s, late 80s sort of aesthetic. But then you said grandma, and I was like, no!
No, I think you're right, though. It is that kind of... It's the late 80s version of fancy. which is just vile. It's horrible.
I don't know, it's kind of nostalgic to me, to be honest. Personally.
Trying to work out like what's on because on the table here, like obviously you got the phone. He's got the file that he's left. There's a couple of lamps. There's some sort of like little models, and then on the other side, I don't know what's going on there. It's like some kind of white. There's a long white thing that's cylindrical. I don't want to make any assumptions about what that is.
Well, she was a busy single woman until a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, she didn't know Batman was going to come into her apartment and like leave her lying there. She didn't put it away. She's just like, hey,
Okay.
Exactly.
I've invited someone up. That's what the room divider is there for. She's like, oh, that's keeping that slightly out of view. So when someone comes in, I can nip into the bedroom, shove that in a drawer.
She got some time. Yeah.
Yeah. No one need ever know. And then there seems to be some sort of I'm not sure what that is. On the back of the table is like a crumpled pink fabric of some sort.
I just thought it was an old shirt or something, or maybe like a nightgown.
Yeah, but it could be. But I just wonder, like, why is it there? Why is it crumpled up on the bed on the nightstand? Like,
You haven't seen my bedroom. There's just all over the place. There's a pile of clothes in the corner I've been meaning to sort out for about 6 weeks. And
I can get like on the floor or in a corner, but this is on the nightstand. This is like it just seems like a really odd place to put it.
Well, let me put it this way, right? She was getting ready for the date. Maybe she had that on because she hadn't chosen her outfit yet, but she'd done her makeup. And then she picked her dress. She just threw that on the side. I'll sort that out later. And then, of course, she's had a bit of a busy evening. So she's only just got home, thanks to Bats. She didn't, we should probably point out that he has returned her home after knocking her, by the way. We didn't specify this.
I do know the thing is, he's still not been, the most chivalrous because he's just dumped her face down at the edge of the bed. It's like where she could easily roll off onto the floor. You think like, at least put her under the blankets or something, dude. But he's like, no.
You took her in.
Yeah, it's like literally plop, done. Although, again, I can't imagine him showing up in the Batman gear to deliver her there. So it could have been, this was Alfred work. This is like, she's actually been out for like 2 days because Alfred was like trying to get her up the stairs. And it's just
dragging her by the feet.
That he's had to bring like the cape and all the bad chloroform because all the other people in the apartment building are like, what the hell's going on here? It's like, oh, just look under this cape. And then they're knocked out. He has to drag them into their apartment, leave them dumped.
So his superhero name is Captain Chloroform.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Captain Chloroform, the Battler.
Oh, that is amazing. I want to see an Alfred spin-off where he just has to go around cleaning up Bruce's mess. A bit like there's that German comedy about it's a German comedy about a guy who has to clean up crime scenes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember. I think it was Kit Flemons, former guest of the show, Kit Flemons. I remember him. He pitched that to me, and his thing was like, "Oh, it's hilarious, but there's no. I can't find it with subtitles." And I was like, "Oh, so you speak German? No." It's like, "Well, how are you watching it then?" He's like, "I just kind of gather what's going on by looking at it." And it's like, I don't know if I could do that, man.
To be fair to him, he's learning German. So slightly different.
But this was like 2 years back, but he's learning German now. This is like maybe he's like, yeah, I'm learning German, so we're gonna understand what the hell's going on in that show.
Yeah, he'll learn German and then watch it again and be like, "This is terrible."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, guys, whatever you do, don't turn on the subtitles. Just make up your own show with the visuals way better."
Well, Vicki, when she wakes up and she grabs at her breast, which at first I was going minute by minute. I'd forgotten kind of what had happened because it was so long ago.
Right.
I was thinking, what's she doing? But then she finally says, he took the film. Because, of course, she'd taken those photographs and she'd stored them in her bra.
What? I don't remember this.
She took photos of Batman. Did she get a shot of his face, Niall? I'm trying to remember.
No, you see, because the original draft of the script, they get the mask off and she takes a bunch of photos and you can't see his face. And then as we've discussed in the last minute, he develops them for her because I guess he knows you can't see his face. But
somehow, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, in this version, it's very much like not even taking the chance because like they didn't get the mask off. Plus, he just flat out. It seems like he not only took the film, he took her camera as well. The camera's gone. So he's like, no, not even, not nothing. You're getting nothing out of this. It's all Batman. It's like,
Well, that's like something the police would do anyway, isn't it? If the police were trying to get photos off you, they'd probably just take your camera and not, compensate you in any fashion.
yeah. Of course, then, I can imagine this seems like this would be unpleasant because she's, awakened by the ringing telephone. And I don't know because I've never been chloroformed, but I imagine it probably is like a bit of a you don't feel the best when you wake up,
Oh, you
it's
think?
Yeah, I can't imagine been overwhelmed by chemicals so much that it actually conks you out. It's going to make you wake up going oh, I'm so refreshed.
It was bad enough waking up from an operation once. I woke up and within 5 seconds just vomited all over the hospital.
Oh man!
So, I imagine it's that, but even worse.
Even worse.
I think even just waking up and because I'm of the age now where it's like need a bottle of water next to my bed at all times because it's just like. But yeah, and because you just as soon as I wake up because I think I'm just sleeping with my mouth open, so it's just like even in the middle of the night it's like no, I need a drink of water because my throat's so dry.
Yeah.
And I imagine again this would be like having to talk on the phone because she does sound like really wrecked. It's surreal, like hello, like it's I don't. Plus, even the angle she's at, like that's not a comfortable angle to be like laying on your phone.
Well, I was gonna bring that up because I was gonna ask both of you, do you do this? Because when I'm on the phone, right, I hate phone calls. I think it's part of my weird anxiety problem.
The most.
Oh, thank God, yeah. I'm not alone. So I get really bored of them. And after a few minutes, I end up in like weird positions. I'm like a little kid. I'm doing anything to distract my brain from the phone call, which is quite hilarious that I am currently hosting a podcast. It's a bit like a phone call. It's you'd think this would be our nightmare, wouldn't you? But somehow it's fine. I don't know. So I end up doing what she's doing, basically.
Are you saying you're lying in bed at the moment? On your back?
Yeah.
Well, I am perched on the chair like Spider-Man currently, and I'm not even joking about that.
Fantastic. I'm actually sitting on the floor.
Oh, there you go.
I'm having to, just so people know how the sausage is made. I don't have an appropriate desk for podcasting, so what I've had to do is I've got like a little bedside table, and I put a microwave on top of it. I'm bouncing the microphone on top of that.
Well, there you go. You win. You win in this wonderful episode.
Hey, we've all got our own ways of doing this thing. That's what's so interesting. I saw someone the other day who was hosting a podcast with their microphone on top of board games. So there you go.
Yeah. And of course, if things weren't bad enough, if they weren't bloody bad enough, she answers the phone, and who was it? Friggin' Knox.
Knox and his loud mouth.
Oh, it is. But actually, Phil, while you're on, what's your view of Knox? Because when we started this, as a lot of the listeners will have heard us say, we thought he's a jerk. But right. I'm coming around on him. I quite like the character now.
You know what? I'm going to have to agree with you because when I was listening to Bat Minute 89, way back, I think a couple of months ago when you guys just started, and then watching the movie again recently, at least at the beginning, Knox is kind of like a sort of like down on his luck kind of guy who's just trying to do something, and he's got a goal in mind, and even though he's obnoxious and annoying, I mean he's trying to do something right. He's trying to get the scoop on the Batman, and everybody else is kind of making fun of him at the beginning. He's kind of like a little bit of a Peter Parker type at least from the Sam Raimi films. So that's how I felt, and I didn't feel like that before, but now that you guys did this podcast, I have to agree with you, Jonathan, that he ain't that bad. He's just kind of obnoxious, that's about it. Obnoxious.
Yeah, I mean, he's a bit annoying, but he's not. Yeah, he's a bit annoying, but he's not nasty. He's not harmful, is he?
Yeah.
He's got a heart of gold.
I mean, it's one of these things now, though. Like his immediate reaction of like, "Oh, Vale, where have you been? Do you want me to come on over?" It's just like,
now that's funny, but it's also kind of alarming.
Calm down, Knox. Jeez.
Yeah.
And also, I love the way, he says, "Where have you been? Are you all right? Do you want me to come over?" It's like, whoa, one at a time.
Yeah. And she's just like, who is this?
Yeah, what's going on?
Who is it?
Also, I like the way she says, no, Allie. It's like, wait. So Alexander Knox's new nickname is Allie.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling that.
Yeah, I remember, because Alexander is a good name. Alex is a good name. I remember it was like 4 seasons into Buffy before I figured out that Xander was short for Alexander.
Yeah, same.
And then that's the only instance I've ever heard of anyone called Xander. I think that was exclusive. That's a Josh Whedon creation of like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then Allie for Alexander is like, I've never heard that outside this movie. Like, that seems...
Right.
It's like probably everyone who was called Alexander who then would be like, saw this movie is like, no, I'm not going to make sure whoever I'm with does not watch Batman because I'm not letting that happen.
I think this is just the only time she actually mentions him being Allie, because I have not noticed that until we were talking about it just now.
Yeah.
I mean, we might be proven wrong as we go through the film, but I can't think off the top of my head of another instance of him being called Allie.
Exactly.
No, not off the top of my head, no. But
we'll see. We'll be proven wrong probably within the next 5 minutes.
although, speaking of Knox, one thing we've never done is that there is actually a list of people who were apparently who were considered for the role of Knox. Ooh. And before Robert Wool, obviously stole the hearts and minds of the people. But I'll go through a few of them because it's quite a list, and we'll bring up the rest of them the next time he's on because they're all quite interesting. The first one, though, there's a pattern here, and I think if this is true, this is a bit of lazy consideration on the part of the casting department. Whereas they had John Cleese. John Cleese, Fawlty Towers,
Whoa,
Monty Python.
What?
Okay,
Yeah, apparently he was up for it. Also considered was Eric Idle. Already. And then also considered was Michael Palin.
Oh, come on.
Kidding me?
And then in this list, also considered Gene Wilder. Fair enough, yeah, getting away from that there. Next on the list, Terry Jones. And then followed by Terry Gilliam. And I was like, I think this guy was just like, I better make it look as if I've done work today. And like not just looked at the Monty Python guys. And they're like, who else? Gene Wilder. There you go.
Yeah, I love the way they put him in the middle to mix it up.
Although all of them, though, I can imagine. John Cleese. I keep saying Cleese. It's Cleese. But I can't really. I imagine his take on it would be very different. Because he strikes me as he'd be more of a domineering. Well, because you always see him play sort of like real asshole characters. Like Basil Fawlty is your kind of go-to. And I can imagine him, he wouldn't be quite as cuddly as Robert Wool comes across at times. I imagine his version of Knox would be a bit more...
So would he have an American accent? That's the question.
See, I can't imagine it. I've never heard him do an American accent.
I haven't either, which is why I brought it up. I mean, like, what?
I think there's like a Monty Python sketch where he plays a Texan, and it's very blatant
it's a British person doing an American accent,
but because it's Monty Python.
Yeah, we're not the best at that.
You're not there for the acting. You're like, well, it's a sketch. Yeah. So he doesn't have to be perfect at it.
Although, as you say, he normally plays like a kind of jerk. Despite that, visually, I could see him as Alfred.
Yeah.
Like, I think he would work. I think most of the Pythons would be better as Alfred. And Michael Palin might make a good Alfred.
Oh, yeah, totally. He could make one now, right?
Yeah, it's probably better now for it, actually. Yeah.
But Eric Idle, I can see him doing it. Like, I imagine him, again, can't imagine him doing the accent, but I can picture him in that Knox role. I guess because you kind of see, remember, like, one of the roles I've seen Eric Idle in. It's like, he was in Casper, wasn't he? He was like, a kind of...
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and he was kind of hanging about with a very confident female character in that, and was a bit of a lackey. Yeah. I guess that's kind of Knox-ish.
Yeah.
That's an interesting. Were there any more, or was it basically just the Pythons?
No, there's a longer list, but I'm thinking, leave it for another minute.
Yeah,
it's
you
like
can save it.
Yeah. So
well, I do like as well. Vicky takes control of the conversation now, and she wants to know if the story she's going to bring in can make the evening edition or not. Which I thought that was quite funny that this was a concern back then, because it still is for print. But, who the hell is reading most print papers and magazines? So if it was now, she'd have a bat blog.
Yeah. Even now, if it was for print, you could still send the message like, I've got a story. All right, send it straight over. Like there's no like.
Yeah.
I'm wondering
put it in the Dropbox.
Yeah, I'm wondering what his considerations, because he's just like just barely. But like, what considerations has he taken in there? Is he like, well, I'm assuming we're gonna need like 2 hours to get it in on time. So yeah, just barely. Like, or is it like literally they could try this and then it's like, no, we didn't make it. Like I didn't anticipate that it was going to take you.
Idea. I was
so
thinking
long.
the same thing. I was wondering that exact same thing before we started recording when I was watching these minutes.
It's it's tough. I mean, I
time
suppose
is
she
ticking.
could fax it over. People often had faxes in their homes, didn't they? Late 80s. So
Yeah, and faxes were supposed to be the thing of the future, according to
Well, I
Back
do
to the
actually
Future.
use a fax all day, every day at my current job,
Are you
which
kidding?
is hilarious. Yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
hospital, so there's
Okay.
doctors' signatures. We are replacing it with a computer system, but currently, faxes. But when we get younger staff members come in, they haven't got a clue what it even is. They're like, what? It starts dialing and doing like the, and they're like, what's that noise? I'm like, it's fine. Just leave it. It's fine.
For some reason, I just got the image of was that bit in Arrested Development where like Tobias is trying to get the old family band back together. It's like him, Lindsay, and Maybe, and they're all playing this one song, and he's clapping, and then George Michael's trying to get in on it, and he comes in with like I think it's a cowbell or just a little, just knocking a little thing, but it's just like Tobias is singing away, and then it's the instant he hears a thing behind him, he's just like, what is that noise? It's just like really abrasive turning around.
That's basically it. Yeah. And I like what Knox says here. Well, what he asks, because he says, "Is it hot?"
Yeah.
And of course, he means, is it a juicy story? And she goes, "Yeah, it's real hot." But of course, there's a double meaning there, because although she's been with Bruce, I think she fancies Batman.
Oh yeah.
Like she wants a piece of Batman.
real
Little does she
hot.
know it's the same guy. Of course.
The bitter irony of the whole thing,
He's those lips yet again. Yeah, pretty hot.
She's kind of saying it in a very breathy manner. Like, oh yeah, it's real hot.
It's real hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk to Knox in that way. He'll enjoy that a bit.
Yeah.
He'll get the wrong ideas.
Oh yeah. He Knox. Although I say I've come around to him, he's still a bit creepy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right?
Again, this could be just like, oh, so you do want me to come straight over? Like,
No.
No, don't do it, Knox.
yeah, like I do love as well. They don't kind of utilize it to its comedic potential, but it is still kind of funny. Where like, everything's sorted, and then Knox goes like, "Oh, copy," and the guy's just like, "Yes, sir," and he's like right behind him, and it's like it really reminds me of
It's a good one. It's a good gag.
I don't know if the guys on Star Wars Minute ever brought it up in the relevant minute, but of like, in Empire Strikes Back, and Vader's just like, all right, prepare your forces for a surface attack. General Veers, prepare your men. It turns around, and General Veers is like right behind him.
Yeah, he's right in front of him.
And you really think he's just going to be like, General Veers, oh, what the?
Yeah, because he kind of, the way he turns, he looks kind of startled that he's there, the general. He's like, oh.
General Veers. Oh.
I'm always surprised, and like you think of someone would have spoofed this by now. Like this would have been in like a Family Guy thing or something, but no one seems to realize. Like, yeah, it's weird that he's so close behind him. But and I will mention as well, and this is one of those things of like debatable, and there's a lot of these little things that could be nods, but a lot of people will then say that, well, no, it's probably just coincidence. But the shot of Vicki lying on the bed, apparently. Well, I say apparently. I've looked at it myself. It is very similar to a shot of Vicki Vale on her bed, with the same kind of colors and everything on her dress from the story Vicki Vale's Secret, which appeared in Batman '73 in October 1952. But apparently that panel was also reused very frequently at any mention of Vicki Vale. So when they say Vicki Vale and you have to show like a visual representation, they'd use the same panel. So even for like 20 years, and like even like in like 1975, there's panels. That same panel will show up as like,
Are you kidding
so it's
me?
like a lot of people are like, oh, it's Vicki Vale's signature pose. This is like a little
now it is.
this is like a little nod towards that, which seems like maybe it is, or maybe that could be. You told Tim Burton that, he'd be like, Like, I know, it's just a shot of her lying on the bed. Thought I should put it out there just in case. Just in case that it turns out to be true.
That's it. Like, I'm always wondered about that phone earpiece, though, the mouthpiece there.
Well, was it just that it just looks weird, or?
Yeah, it just looks weird. That's about it. That's all I want to say. Just need to put that on record. All right.
I kind of miss using phones like that, though, to be honest. I miss a good corded phone. I suppose this we cut now to the newspapers being delivered in frantic fashion.
Very frantic, very excited.
Yeah, why are they delivering the papers like this?
I mean, Batman cracks Joker's poison code. Come on.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, is there that much urgency to get the paper to that little stand? It's not even like a big store or something. It's just this little newsstand.
Oh, it's for the montage. Come on.
There's a police car at the front, and it's absolutely filthy. Like that, it sums up Gotham to me. Look how dirty that damn police car is.
Gotham City,
vile,
dirty police cars, absolutely filthy.
Well, dirty cars for dirty cops, you know.
Hey.
Although, we obviously, as you say, we catch a glimpse of the front, and it's Vicky's story, as you said. What was it? Batman cracks Joker's poison code. Citizens told to avoid the following products, and a big list. I'm not reading them all. But is it just me, or is there a typo on deodorants? Niall, your expertise is the English language.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
It doesn't need the apostrophe, does it?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, yeah, deodorant is with baby powder.
Yeah, damn right. Oh, my God. This Gotham Globe is a joke. That's...
Yeah, man, that's just like because I live in Croatia at the moment, and their grasp on, I mean, to be fair, English grammar is a little bit complicated.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this taco place nearby, and they put like, it says tacos and steaks or something like that, but the tacos have an abbreviation, like that little. That little hatchet thing. So it's taco is beefsteaks. So it's like, and it just annoys me every single time.
I'll let them off, because English is a confusing language. Because every other language has rules, and you generally follow the rules. English, the rules when they're there make no sense, and then half the time they're not relevant anyway, and you're supposed to ignore them on this particular instance for some reason or other.
Okay, so who made this typo, though? Who made this one?
Yes, who made that? To be fair, also, they rushed it to print, as we just heard. So, when you're rushing stuff, this happens.
I'm assuming it has to be Knox, because he was the one, Vicky's giving him the story, so...
Yeah, but isn't there like a proofreader? Is that part of the editor's job? I don't really know how papers
again,
work.
it could be that, maybe this is what Knox was considering into, like, well, if you give me a story now, it'll take me half an hour to write it, and it'll be another half hour of getting it checked and stuff, and it's like, maybe his just barely is like, well, we can get it out, but it won't be proofread, and this is what happens. This is what you get the... I do have to wonder, as well, is this like a... You think Batman would be more... I think he's sort of... taken out the middleman here as well, kind of. Because like you think this information would be more like, take this to the police.
Yeah.
But he's very much like, no, take it to the press, get the information out.
Well,
and that way, because if the police take it, they could sit and be like, well, we don't know this Batman guy, he might be lying to us, and then they'll sit and investigate for a while. This is more like, no, if you get it out to the people, then it's like, oh, well, everyone knows. So it's kind of like you're not having to deal with the police going like, and then they can investigate and be like, oh, what do you know? He's right, So,
well, I was also quite taken with some of the other headlines, because there was one in particular that I very much liked. It was I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, so I apologize. Nagy bids US check Soviet aggression. Now, because I assumed that this was about Imre Nagy. Again, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. The Hungarian communist leader.
Of course.
Of course.
Who else?
Well, I know these things. Because he and his party had a big falling out with the Soviets, you see, resulting in Soviet invasion and even his execution.
Ooh, wow.
But this complicates the timeline of Batman further to me, because this occurred during and after the Hungarian Revolution of 1956.
Oh, Okay.
So when the hell is this movie set?
I think it was one of the other headlines that we managed. I think we got it down to, it's set in 1986 because of the date. I was like, well, it says here like Friday 10th or whatever, October.
Yeah, but
and the Friday 10th of
Nagy's
October
alive.
was in. Yeah, so this is like, is this like zombie Nagy? Is he come back from the dead?
Oh man.
These zombie Hungarians.
Some other things though, because then notice way down beneath one of the other headlines now that you have to question is Mayor Haig ends 30 years in office. Now, Mayor Borg is the mayor of Gotham. So who's this Mayor Haig guy? Was he?
Oh man.
Is he the mayor of like Metropolis? Like what? Who's he?
That's a very good question. I hadn't even considered that. Yeah, is there a Mayor Haig in DC anywhere? Oh my God! Right, hang on. This complicates things further. There was a Mayor Haig, who was the mayor of Jersey.
Ah,
but he died in 56.
What the hell?
But Nagy's hooked.
What's
that
going
was
on
56.
This was like the best of the Gotham Globe edition came out, and then now they've got like, oh yeah, we had to put in that new news report as well. This is like what you'd get over here with like Top of the Pops 2, where it's like, oh, it's all the songs from like the 70s. But this is like, no, we're like, there was nothing else was happening today, so we're throwing up a load of old news stories, and then like this one big thing happened.
Crazy.
Well, that's the only explanation for all these 1956 headlines.
Yeah.
It's the only explanation.
Oh, but now it's like, because you get this universal service urged by Truman in Princeton talk. Was Truman? Was he? Is this Harry S. Truman? Is this like?
That's a bit different, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, the first line, if you can read it, below that headline does say President, I think Truman.
it seems to me though. I think it looks like President speaks from steps at something
Okay.
hall.
Well, but it's still saying the word president in relation to Truman.
Yeah.
Insane.
So what? Truman wasn't president in 56 though. That was even earlier. So it's like,
Ugh.
I think 56 is like the Eisenhower era, I believe.
Oh my God, this movie makes no sense. Let's wrap it up. God damn.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, much.
We're going to just stop the podcast.
But much like this now though, this shot, papers blab plump, and you get a little music cue goes dit, 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 and that's the end of it. This seems like this could be the end of the movie. It's just like, yep, that's it. Batman's cracked the code.
Wow.
And as the music
That's it.
stopped, and we're done. Like that's
Good work, Batman.
yep. Thank God he was around.
Or we could go into Disney's Newsies, as I said. One way or the
Or
other.
that, yeah.
Be like Christian Bale's character looking at Batman, eh? Huh, he
Yeah,
sounds crazy,
Batman.
this guy. I bet he talks really stupid. That's my Newsies impression there. Yeah.
Nice.
Should we burst into song?
Give me. It is Saturday night. Caught with brackets Wednesday.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait, don't ruin the illusion. It's Wednesday, Niall.
Well, I already told people about me balancing the microphone on top of a microwave, so I don't think.
Yeah.
I think we've shattered that illusion already.
We shattered the illusion.
Oh,
The illusion
yes.
of Batman. And his messed up timeline.
Yes, and that ties into your podcast, of course,
Good.
because the whole world is an illusion.
The whole world is an illusion. That's right. In the
I mean,
Matrix Minute.
I could
That's where we go.
buy that. That could genuinely be true, and
What, the
it
Batman
wouldn't
universe?
be too far fetched. Yeah, well, just in life.
Oh, okay.
It could also be that like this was an abandoned Joker story, where it's like he's feeding the Gotham Globe news stories from 1956 as if they're factual, and like the paper's so terrible, they're like, "Oh my God, did you hear what President Truman said?" And they're like, "I thought I thought it was like President Reagan." Now it's like, no, apparently it's still Truman.
Oh my! It throws up a lot of interesting questions, I would say. But we will have to probably leave most of them there. We can maybe touch on them again on Friday when we are back. But do you have any further notes, either of you, before we head off into the dark night?
No, sir.
I was going to make a little thing about on Knox's on his cabinet. There's a little photograph of a silhouette. You don't see who it is, but of course it once again reminded me of the Mastermind from Police Academy 6. So,
God, you and these police
but
academy.
it's like the
films.
mastermind if he took off his hat. That's
man.
what that looks like. So, but beyond that, but I wouldn't mention that in the show because that'd be stupid. So,
Well,
Oh, well, before we do go, Phil, where can our good listeners find your great works?
well, you can find things that I do on phildragash.com, DRAGASH. But more importantly, because we're doing this, as I said last time, we're doing this as a podcast, and we have a podcast project too, which is why I'm here, and it's the Matrix Minute.1. I actually said that correctly this time. I feel so proud of myself.
Yay!
Please go there. It'd be really amazing to have you guys listening to that as well, because Batman at 89 is great.
thanks very much.
And there you go. That's all I
Yeah,
got.
thanks a lot. Well, I
need
love
some tea.
your show, and I love The Matrix in general. So
Oh, thanks.
I'm sure most of our listeners will be the same. So make sure you check it out because it's great stuff, great work, and it's a movie that needs to be covered in
thanks.
this manner.
Thanks.
So
yeah,
yes.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I need to research more.
Well, it's one of those though that you could do too deep, where it's just all
could.
like talking about philosophy, and then it'll end
Yeah.
up like the Matrix
No.
sequels. So
Yeah,
you need the
we're-
right
yeah.
balance of fun and depth.
Yeah, we're trying to do it on a surface level, and by surface we just mean talking about the characters and the story and how it progresses, more than the underpinning.
And good listeners, you are all invited back on Friday because we will finish off the week with minute 75 of Batman. And in the meantime, you can chat to us online where we are on the Batminute 89 Listener Society, which is on Facebook. And you can also tweet us at Batminute 89. And do not forget, we're on iTunes. We want your lovely, lovely reviews. Please review, please. And that pretty much does it for minute 74. So see you again on Friday for more Batman.
Batman.
Next time, televisual trashing, take 2. As Boker talk over a timely talent tidy, which custodial codger will cogitate the decloaking of our cowled crime crusher. Find out Friday, same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.